Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. If you hear some children in the background, it's because my camera is set up in front of my bedroom window and there are children that are playing in a pool, like right outside. Kind of envious of them, not gonna lie. But if you hear that going on, hey, if you don't know, in the US right now, it's summertime, it's hot. I know we're in the Pacific Northwest. We're not getting nearly the heat on this western side of the Cascade Range as what's happening on the eastern side of the Cascade Range. But we have slightly more humidity here. Nothing like Florida. So those of you living in Florida in this heat with the high temperatures and the humidity, I feel for you. I really do. I hope you're staying cool out there, wherever you are. But anyway, that's what's going on. And if you hear the noise in the background, you know, like I said, it's summer and I personally enjoy hearing the sounds of happy children playing. I think it's literally music to my ears. So I hope it doesn't bother you either. Anyway, so here we are. I apologize for there being a longer than usual hiatus between uploads. I have had several technical issues recently with the filming, with my audio, and trying to do different configurations, maybe different software. Those were all epic fails. I still have the footage if I can figure out how to fix it. I might still do that or do a voiceover or something. But in the meantime, we are back to what I was doing before that was working perfectly. So I guess, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Anyway, moving on. So sitting here today, I realized that there are a lot of the beauty channels that I followed up until this point that I haven't been watching a lot of lately, mostly because I just don't have time. And one of the YouTubers that I've been watching for quite a while, and astonishingly enough, I watched very few of his videos in the last 6-7 months, is Wayne Goss. And I actually just did purchase essentially 3 sets of his brushes. 2 were in a bundle, and then once I got those and absolutely love them, I bought another eye set so I would have more of a variety for my eyes. And I decided this morning, oh, what the heck, let's go back and let's start binge watching Wayne Goss. And one of the last ones that I watched before I finally drug myself out of bed was how to mattify even more your foundation by mixing it with powder. And as you guys know, I have a problem around my nose. I get oily here, and then I have like this weird texture here. I've got the foundation's crease here and my smile lines, and then of course up here in these big ones from, you know, raising my eyebrows to try and not have, you know, RBF. Because I really am a pretty chill person, but a lot of people think that I'm ready to kill somebody when it's just my face. I can't help it. So I was inspired. I want to give it a shot, see how that works, especially since it's this hot, sweaty day. And I figure, what the heck, why not? I'm not probably going anywhere, so if it doesn't work and I end up looking like a cakey mess, not a huge deal. So I have in front of me a whole bunch of drugstore stuff. Yesterday we were down in Pendleton, Oregon for my husband's uncle's funeral, and we went in. We had a few hours to spare after checking out of the hotel before having to go to the service. So we had breakfast, we went to Walmart, and I picked up quite a few Milani items. I already had the Milani foundation, and this is what I'm going to mix today with the powder, which I even have the powder that Wayne used in the mixture. Now he mixed it up in the palm of his hand. I'm not going to do that because that's going to be messy, but I have one of my little dishes here from Daiso Japan, and I'm just going to put a pump of the foundation in there and then mix up. This is the actual powder that he used, and it's the RCMA no color powder. He actually used quite a bit, but we'll give that a shot, and I figure I'll just mix it up using my little paddle that I put the foundation on with anyway. And then we're just gonna give it a shot, see how it goes. But then while we were there, I picked up the concealer that goes along with the foundation. I actually didn't even know that it had a concealer, and as you know, I like to use the foundation and concealer at the same brand, so I was excited about that. I picked up the matte, Silky Matte 01 Sunlight Bronzing Powder from Milani, and this is what this looks like. Kind of has that little sunburst type thing. I don't think it has, no, it doesn't look like it's got a compartment underneath. So no mirror, no sponge or brush or anything, just the bronzer. And then I'd also picked up recently, not in this one, but these blush trios. So this one is just the one I'm going to use today. I've got another one over there. This one is the 01 Flowers of Love, and these are actually designed to work together as kind of a darker, almost like a contouring tone. So contour, blush, and then a highlight, which, if you remember back in the day, like back in the 80s, blushes would actually come with like that, with a light one, the blush tone, and then a darker one to kind of contour with. And that's how we always did it. And you had a little brush that went along with it, and I would usually squeeze or squish it, make it a little bit bigger, and then, you know, all over. And it was actually one of my older brothers that taught me how to do that by watching his girlfriend. And our mom didn't wear makeup. Her idea of putting on makeup was slapping on some bright red lipstick and calling it good. That was it. She was out. And so she was no good to help me with any of that. But, you know, hey, God rest her soul. She did the best she could. And, you know, at least she let me play with it. And because she never learned because she wasn't allowed. It was just kind of how it was at the time. And, you know, I got to look like Bozo the Clown, you know, at like 12, 13, 14. But I think a lot of us did. You know, and the kids these days don't seem to have that phase because they have YouTube. They can look up tutorials. But anyway, I digress. And I had also picked up this Milani Highlight Trio, which is the 03 Rose Glow. I have used this, obviously, like the one there in the middle, that kind of goldeny shade. And it's very, very intense. Like, you can see yourself from space. And so, without further ado and rambling, we are going to first do eyeshadow. Kind of do a mainly drugstore chit chat, get ready with me, using, like I said, mainly drugstore products. Then we'll get the foundation on, see how that goes with mixing it in with the powder. And I brought over, you know, my favorite Milani. So actually most of what's going on my face today is going to be Milani. I don't have eyebrow stuff from them because it just looked like all the stuff that they had was too dark. So I did grab a couple of Revlon Colorstay brow creators. So in the usual blonde and taupe. And these are also new. I've not tried these before. These have like the regular, you know, pencil there. And then there's, I think, a second section here. Yeah, there's a second section here that has like a powder. Is that what it says? Yeah, it says powder. And then the usual spoolie at the end. As I was saying, I pulled over, you know, several of my Milani palettes. I know they've got regular ones And I know they have a new one of these, but these are the, I'll just hold them up. So they look like this. And I know they have a new one out. This one is the Soft and Sultry. And this is what this looks like. These is actually quite similar in color story to the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, Drawn a Complete Blank. I have it over there. Of course, me and my eyeshadow palette obsession. If I think of it, I'll grab a picture of it and I'll put it like up here of what it is, or put it in a subtitle or something, because my brain is just not functioning right now. But this is the Soft and Sultry. They have the Pure Passion one, which this is the color story here. And they also have Bold Obsessions, which kind of similar to the Pure Passion, but you've got some blues in there as well. This would be a good one to take traveling. You could get a lot of different looks out of this one. And then if you prefer mattes, then they have one called Most Loved Mattes. And here's this color story. I believe this is the one that we're going to use today. So again, this one is Soft and Sultry. Now I have already done my skincare, and I have primed my lids with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, which is why this is not totally drugstore. It's mostly drugstore because I'm going to keep using my Drunk Elephant skincare, because that's not really something I want to mess with. We want to keep going in the right direction there. And I am going to use my Wayne Goss brushes because, you know, they're awesome and I have them, so why wouldn't I? I've been using the number 16 for doing the crease. I don't think these have names. Oh yeah, they do have names. So I think this is going to be Temptation. That's what I'm going to use for the crease. Doesn't really look like it's done much. Kind of matches my skin tone actually quite well. But you know, hey, that is what it is. And then I'm going to take his number 19. And I'm going to use that for the all over the lid color, which I'm going to use Come Hither, which is actually fairly dark. Like I said, I ain't going anywhere. I use the little mirror in here instead. Yeah, there we go. That might work. Okay, and then using the same brush, I'm going to go into Diamonds and Pearls. Get that inner corner. And then I've been using the number 18 for doing the outer corners. Alright, and I will save doing the brow bone highlight until later, because I have figured out that as I put on my primer, I tend to go too low over my eyebrows and wipe it right off, which I'm trying to get better about that. Okay, so we're gonna chuck on those primers, of which I picked up the Milani Prime Shield because I got a lot of mattifying stuff here, mattifying pore filling, because I don't want to sweat it all off. I guess we'll see. So this is the number 1 Prime Shield mattifying, and let's see what this looks like. It looks like just kind of your standard silicone based primer. Does it say? Yep, very first ingredient is dimethicone. So that's what this looks like. Kind of smells funky, but whatever. Okay, and then just using my Ulta Beauty under eye primer, which is their version, I believe, of the Smashbox under eye primer. They both look and perform exactly the same. I think the Smashbox primer is maybe like around $20 US, and this is like $5, I think. Why spend so much more when this works just as well? And then for the pores, I brought over my Maybelline Master Blur Stick. There we go. And as we know, this gives you a little bit of coverage as well. Take care of some of those red areas. Okay, so now it's time for our science project. So I'm going to take the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is in the shade 00 Light Natural. This looks like this will actually be the first time I've used this. I know I had another one before, but it was too dark. I believe I gave it to one of my daughters to give to a friend. So we shall see how this goes. I honestly don't remember how well I liked it, you know, other than the color being too dark. I have no idea if I'm using enough, too much. I don't know, but see, here's what it looks like in my little dish. Hopefully you can pick up the white powder, getting it all over my laptop. Well, I think this is probably about as good as it's gonna get because it keeps glumping up on my paddle here. But here's what we have. It's called, I had to scrape it off on the side, but that's our little mixture, which of course there's way too much, but you know, hey, all in the name of beauty, I guess. And then I have my dampened Juno and Company sponge, which I should probably hurry because these things actually feel like they're, no, that one's pretty good. Anyway, all right, here goes nothing. That's gathering weird on that side of my nose for some reason. Might be a good thing I'm not going anywhere today. It's the only people that are going to see this review. Matter of fact, I don't like how this is sitting on the skin at all. And it's also wiping right off. Okay. Sorry about that. For you, a very short hiatus, but I had a bloody nose that just kind of erupted, and it took about a half an hour to get it to stop. Turned on the AC in here, tried to get it cooled down because my husband came up and he's like, yeah, it's probably just because it's too hot in here. So with that bloody nose, I had ended up taking off all of the foundation on my nose, around my mouth, so I did have to put it back on. And I gotta say, I think I used too much powder in the mix because it is very difficult to blend. I am probably not going to be trying this during the week, or if I do, just use just a touch of powder. I don't know, I'll probably play with it some more, but I think right now it's about as good as it's going to get, and I do not want to bounce too much around my nose because let's not get that started again. So in the interim, while I was trying to keep from losing half of my body's store of blood out of my face, I did grab that Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, and ironically enough, it is the Sultry palette that is most like that color story for the Milani. And it's also very similar to, as you can tell, this is well loved. And it's also very similar to elements of the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions palette too. So, but the Anastasia Beverly Hills one is so pretty that I did actually purchase a backup for that for myself because it's pretty. I know coffee's probably not exactly the fluids I should be replenishing with, but it's what I got. All right, so let's keep moving before my little doodad here dries out completely. And it's still a little damp, so we should be okay. All right, so moving on, we're gonna get into the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. And I purchased the shade 125 Light Natural. And again, this is what this looks like. So hopefully it's not too dark. Should be just about right. I've got my Coty Airspun powder in my little dish. Here's what the doe foot kind of applicator looks like. It's one of those flat ones. Oh, I like this. It's not immediately creasing under my eyes. That's good. That's good. That's very good. I mean, I've got wrinkles. It's gonna crease a little bit, but I actually quite like the finish on this. Probably defeats the purpose of doing the whole powder and the foundation thing, but I need a little extra coverage here. I could not get that to blend. Actually, though, something that I did just notice is that typically, since, you know, I have not set the foundation yet, usually it's already creasing in the smile lines already, and up on the forehead, and I do have to admit, it's not doing that very much. I mean, here's a little bit, but not a lot, so that's a bonus. But yeah, I do think that I just kind of put in too much powder into the foundation, which made it really difficult. And it's still not blended in many places. So I'll have to experiment more on the weekends and not when I'm actually trying to get ready for work, because I'll be late. Go ahead and set the rest of this. Now that this is as good as it's gonna get, and just hope that my nose doesn't start bleeding again, because gross. I was gross. Alright, so next we're gonna do brows. So let's grab these. They are again is Revlon Colorstay Brow Creator Pencils. And my trusty dusty spoolie. Pencil's quite soft. It doesn't grab too much. It's not like that ColourPop one, which was like super soft and just, it felt like I was running a grease pencil through my eyebrows. So that's just the one shade. I want to play with this powder and hope that I don't get it all over the place. Not quite sure what you're supposed to do with it, quite honestly. I'm assuming it's so that you can get the little sparser patches filled in better, maybe? Definitely not for somebody who has super thin brows. Oh, it's kind of got like a little spongy kind of feel to it. So I wonder if I can get that to pick up, that you can see the product inside. There you go. Huh. Interesting. And this has kind of an angle to it. Oh, look, it keeps picking up on my vanity for some reason. You can see my usual battle station back there. Are you gonna? No, you're not gonna do it when I want you to. Stupid camera. So I wonder, because that powder's quite a bit darker than the blonde pencil itself, so kind of already got that two-tone thing going on. Well, let's chuck in this, what is the other shade? Is soft brown anyway, just to kind of see what that looks like in there. That's as good as it's gonna get. Okay, so let's move on to the bronzer blush highlight. I'm gonna grab my number 12 brush from Wayne Goss. We're gonna pop into this Milani bronzer and see how this goes. A little dusty, but not too bad. I mean, what are you gonna expect if you're gonna be pushing a brush around inside it. I'm thinking with that Milani, I'm going to use at least a couple of those and see how it looks doing the, instead of bronzer here, I'm going to go into the darkest shade of this blush trio. So this one here, and I'm going to do a little contouring with the darker shade and then pop these on the apple of the cheeks. But I've got something else in mind for highlighters, so we're not going to do that one. I'm just going to grab my number 13 that I've been using as a blush brush because it fits just perfectly in this little pan. And then let's see if I end up looking like an idiot. But again, only people that are going to see me are you. That foundation is definitely gathering in those smile lines. I was hoping for a miracle, but whatever, it's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. Okay, I'll just knock the excess powder off so that I can go into the next color and not have there be any combining of the two. I know that I brought up the Milani highlighter that I have earlier, but what we are actually going to use today is something new that I spotted, and this was at the Walmart in Pendleton, so that's Oregon. I'm not sure if this is available in Washington, how new it is. I've not seen anything from any YouTuber about it, so I was kind of excited to find something new in the drugstore that I had never seen before. And I was even at the Walmart, and it's nearby town, on not this Saturday we just had, but the one before, because I picked up some more Coty Airspun. But at the Walmart in Pendleton, right next to the Coty Airspun powders, they now have out a Coty Airspun loose face highlighter. And I'm not usually a huge fan of loose highlighters, but it's Coty Airspun. I want to give this a try. So it does come with a little puff. I have already removed the sticker over the top of the sifter. There it goes, focusing on my vanity again. And then I put the puff back inside just to keep it out of the way and clean. So we've got some of the powder on the puff. I wonder if I can just take my number 10. This is what I've been using as a highlight brush. I wonder if I can just take it off of the thing there, and if that would be enough. Oh, yes, definitely that's enough. Oh my. There were, I want to say 2 or 3 different shades, and I just picked up just this one. Oh yes, that is quite blingy. So we're going to be taking some powders, more powders, and toning that down a little bit. I'm excited that they have more than, because I believe Coty is the parent brand for several different other company or other brands, and the only thing that I've ever seen up until this point was just their OG powder. I said since 1935. This one here is the translucent extra coverage. So it is kind of cool that they're putting something else out under their own name. This one is Snow Much Ice 100 is the name of the shade. Yeah, wow. Talk about a disco ball. So I look nice and wet and shiny, but I am very, very matte. Very, very matte. So we're gonna do our usual trick with the Beauty Pie and the one heck of a blot and tone this down a little bit, because that bronzer on the forehead is also pretty intense. And of course this is just using my Heavenly Luxe Airbrush Powder and Bronzer number 1. It's an It Cosmetics one that I got off a Wish. Still kind of chunky, glittery, but maybe you can't see me from space anymore, because again, I'm a grandma. I don't need to be the in-your-face blingy, but that's good. That's good. That's good. And I can't remember how much I paid. I'll have to dig the receipt out and I'll put it in the description box below with the whole, you know, makeup today stuff, or today's makeup, as it were. And grab the Soft and Sultry palette again, which, you know, I should have made it easy to remember. Soft and Sultry and Sultry. And let's actually open these up here quickly, side by side. So the Milani doesn't have that, I don't know, kind of salmon kind of shade to it, but much of the rest of it is very, very similar. As you can tell, the color stories are quite similar. Not exactly the same, but close. Okay, so I'm gonna take my number, does it have a number to it? Number 5, Wing Gloss number 5. Go into the shade that I used in the crease and get that along the lower lash line. And then that inner corner one, bring that down to the tear duct. And then he's got this itty bitty teeny tiny number 8 brush for liner. So for that kind of angled liner brush that I kept from the set that I gave to my daughter Ashley from BH Cosmetics, you can have that now. But these brushes are so soft. I don't know how the artisans in Japan do it, because he says none of the bristles, none of the hairs are cut. So I don't know how they get them so straight. They've got to have some sort of forms or molds or something. I gotta do something. I don't know what, but that's good. I'm gonna get a little more in that outer corner. I think so. And we're about to run out of time on the timer. Okay, so the next item that we're going to try, and this is one of the things that I picked up from the Walmart there in Pendleton, is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Liquid Eyeliner. It said on the package that it has a flexible applicator. So from what it looks like, is it is kind of like one of those felt tip ones, but the end is actually quite bendy. So I'm hoping it will mimic the one that I enjoy from e.l.f. that has a actual brush tip to it, but hopefully not have the issues with errant hairs going off in different directions and stuff like that. So let's see if we can get this on without making a massive mess out of ourselves. Seems to dry out like really quickly. That's not very impressive. Okay, maybe we need to go in all the way. Oh, it's got a little shaker in there. Of course, I've got a fan blowing on me too, which I'm sure doesn't help the situation at all. Part of me actually kind of wants to try doing a winged liner, but I don't know if this is going to have enough product to it to do that without making a massive mess. Maybe just a little wing. Oh, I did it. Ladies and gentlemen, my very first freehand wing. Don't know how it's gonna look on the other side, but wish me luck. I definitely don't like this eyeliner. Don't like it. I don't like it at all. Well, definitely not the same on both sides. But for the first time freehanding it, I think I actually did okay. All right. And then, as you all know, I absolutely enjoy the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Primer, which comes in, looks exactly the same as the mascara, just it's the pink primer. So we're gonna chuck this on real quick. And then just because I didn't want to open another mascara, since I have several that are open already, 3, the Trestique, the Il Maquillage, and then the Beauty Pie, since Beauty Pie, oh, and I also have the Thrive Cosmetics from the July Ipsy that I like, so I know that one isn't exactly drugstore. So the Beauty Pie Uber Volume Boost Mascara, so while it's supposed to be like high-end quality, it's drugstore price, so I'm gonna use this one. And just in case you didn't see that Beauty Pie video, here's what the spoolie looks like on it. It's got longer bristles on one side than it does on the other, so you can use the shorter side to get up close on the lower lash line, and then the longer ones for the upper lashes. Yep, that primer makes all mascara look so pretty. Okay, and then as usually is the last step is the lip liner and lipstick, and today I'm going to be using both from Milani, the All Natural Color Statement Lip Liner in the shade 04, All Natural. Yeah, the shade is All Natural, so there's the lip liner. And then the matte, liquid matte, Amore Matte Lip Cream in the shade Adorable. There's that. I'm gonna zoom you guys in here real quick because I just noticed as I was putting on the lipstick that I don't know if it's the foundation with the powder mixed into it or the concealer or what it was, but man, my chin looks weird. Like weird. I don't know if you can tell that on camera, but like that there, like my pores are just kind of like, hi, look at me. That's not good. While we have you here, like it's definitely looking weird around my nose. The concealer is actually quite settled into my wrinkles. I'm somewhat impressed with that. Doing my little mini wing. I'll have to see. I'm sure I've got some other eyeliners that have. Yeah, so you settled in up there. But all right, let's bring it back out. You don't have to stay scary close because I forgot to grab my little Q-tips for cleaning up the under eye, because most concealers do, as I am manipulating my face and putting the rest of my makeup on, it does settle into those creases, so I do have to take a little Q-tip and kind of clean that up. So I'm gonna go grab those, clean up off camera, and be back with just my final thoughts on all this stuff. Oh, in the back. Okay, so this is the completed look. I did go back in with something else that I actually purchased from Walmart, and it was on the clearance rack, is the Physicians Formula Healthy Powder. So as you can see here, it was $11.98 and it was marked down to $9. It was totally sealed, so I didn't have to worry about anybody else sticking their grubby little paws in there. But where I normally take the Lorac Perfection powder. I took the Physicians Formula and I used my Fluffy It Cosmetics #1 Heavenly Luxe brush that I had purchased from Wish. And I used it, I just kind of tapped it into the product, used it on my chin, on my nose, and kind of there in the cheek area where I have the largest pores, and just tried to blend that in a little bit better. And I did go outside of the drugstore theme again, and I used my Bare Minerals Summer Bisque after I cleaned up under the eyes, and then I powdered in, because when you do that it does take a little bit of the product off as well. And did not do the brow bone highlight. I think it looks fine without it. Obviously I love the Milani Amore Matte lips. They are very comfortable. My lips are right now quite dry after my massive bloody nose, and it's not emphasizing that dryness. It's not grabbing weird. It looks good. And that highlight from Coty Airspun, it's really good. I like it. It does seem kind of chunky glittery, so if you're not into chunky glittery, probably not for you. But I used very little of it, and bam! I mean, you saw that. So that's it for my mainly drugstore kind of chit chat get ready with me. Hopefully you find the video informative. Maybe go out to your local Walmart, see if they've got this available there. And if you like the video, please like the video. If you like me, please subscribe. And I hope to see everybody again in another video soon. Bye!